A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Said Ibrahim and our sign language interpreter tonight is Alan Kiama. We have a lot lined up for you and on to our first story. President William Ruto has announced a major expansion of the National Youth Service, scaling up recruitment from the current 18,000 to 100,000 young people in the next 3 years. Speaking at the 89th NYS Recruits Pass Out Parade in Gilgil, Nakuru County, the President outlined wide-ranging reforms and job creation initiatives that will see thousands of youth absorbed in agriculture, housing, policing, and even overseas employment.
When the NYS was founded 61 years ago, it was designed to equip young Kenyans with education, with skills, and national cohesion.
At the NYS Paramilitary Academy in Gilgil, over 18,000 recruits graduated, the largest cohort in NYS history. President Ruto stated this milestone highlights the government's goal to expand NYS to 100,000 members within the next 3 years.
I am very proud that today is a pass out of the largest cohort of officers, 18,000, the largest in the history of the National Youth Service. We are reforming NYS itself. Recruitment is expected to expand from 20,000 to 100,000 by 2028.
The President urged graduates to benefit from the Labor Mobility Program, which has connected more than 400,000 Kenyans with jobs in Canada, Germany, and the Gulf states.
For those whose dreams reach beyond our borders, we are creating secure pathways to global opportunities. Labor mobility agreements with Germany, Canada, and Gulf states have already enabled 430,000 young Kenyans in the last 2 years to secure decent jobs abroad in different countries.
To support them, the Ways Fund and Youth Enterprise Fund are covering airfare, visas, settlement costs, and pre-departure training. Last year alone, 244 Kenya shillings helped 2,300 youths to secure overseas employment.
The Ways Fund and the Youth Enterprise Development Fund are financing air tickets, visas, and settlement costs, while also providing pre-departure training and certification. Within the last 1 year, 244 million shillings enabled 2,300 to take up international jobs.
Ruto launched the Nyota program, under which 100,000 youth across Kenyans awards will receive 50,000 startup capital. The initial 54,000 beneficiaries are set to start accessing the funds next month.
Across every ward in Kenya, 100,000 young people will each receive 50,000 startup capital. Next month, the first batch of 54,000 young men and women will receive these funds and begin their training. On the digital front, our digital superhighway agenda has expanded fiber optic coverage by 24,000 kilometers, connecting towns and villages. From a handful of Wi-Fi hotspots in 2022, today we have about 1,500 free access points, empowering traders, innovators, and students.
The President praised NYS as an expanding center for agriculture, engineering, construction, textile, and hospitality. It is also producing maize meal, cooking oil, and fruit products, which lower costs and generates revenue. Soon, NYS will begin awarding nationally and internationally recognized qualifications.
NYS is becoming a productive enterprise in agriculture, engineering, construction, textiles, and hospitality. It is already producing maize meal, cooking oil, and fruit products, cutting costs and generating revenue. Soon, NYS will also award nationally and internationally recognized qualifications.
The NYS is leading the Climate Works Mtaani program, which has already employed 45,000 youths in the Nairobi River Regeneration Project. The initiative will grow to 113,000 nationwide.
Through the Climate Works program, in which NYS plays a central role, we are linking environmental restoration to job creation. Young Kenyans are planting trees, cleaning rivers, and greening public spaces. In Nairobi alone, 45,000 young people are spearheading the regeneration of the Nairobi River into a green corridor. Soon, through countrywide expansion, this workforce will grow to 113,000, including in this county of Nakuru.
Additionally, the workforce for the affordable housing program will double from 320,000 to 640,000, while the new Kandari Mtaani initiative will create 200,000 jobs in housing and market projects, training youths in construction skills while increasing incomes.
We have specifically and strategically positioned housing as a primary engine of job creation. Today, more than 160,000 units are under construction nationwide, already employing 320,000 Kenyans. In the next few months, this number will double to 640,000 young Kenyans. I'm talking about architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, artisans, plumbers, masons, carpenters, electricians, and all of them in between.
Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Minor.
Now, away from that, day 2 of the Senate plenary hearing into the impeachment of Kericho Governor Eric Mutai unfolded with heightened scrutiny and political tension. The governor stands accused of extortion, financial mismanagement, and abuse of office, allegations brought forward by the County Assembly in motion led by Sigowet Soin MCA Kiprotich Rogoni. Today, senators had testimony from Rogoni and other assembly members alongside the system administrator responsible for the electronic voting platform used to pass the motion. The administrator faced tough questions over the system's credibility, struggling to defend its scrutiny protocols and vote verification process. This raised fresh doubt among senators about whether the impeachment vote met the constitutional two-thirds threshold. The testimony added weight to claim that the process may have been flawed, shifting pressure back onto County Assembly side. As the hearing heads into its final day tomorrow, the Senate has demanded clarity and accountability.
So you confirm that also, if I had the ID number for Honorable Paul B, I could have voted?
Yes.
You confirm that?
Yes.
So as the ICT personnel, you have had all these ID numbers from the inception or the swearing in of these members. That means as an ICT person, you could access using the login credentials of those MCAs and vote.
Are you aware of the government of Kenya's policy in respect to development and hosting of domains?
Yes, I am.
Which is the policy?
It should be hosted with the geo.ke, the government platform.
Okay, which is the policy? We will come to the domain number, the geo.ke protocol. Which is the policy that governs the creation of ICT issues, including you as a developer going to host a website, developing it, deploying it for the application for usage. Which is the government policy on that?
I'm not very sure about that.
You're not very sure. Are you aware that the government of Kenya has prohibited the hosting of our data abroad unless there is sufficient safeguards put in place for data protection? Are you aware of that policy?
I'm not aware, but our official website is hosted with ICT Authority of Kenya,
Which is?
which is
Yeah. Which is the domain that you say is hosted by the ICT Authority of Kenya? That is
Kericho
extremely
Assembly.
important.
kerichoassembly.go.ke.
You have, apart from the CEC, Brian, you also have the CEO and you have the county managers,
Yeah, the municipal managers.
municipal managers who are
Yes.
you are implicating.
Yes.
Now, could you tell the honorable senators, are they answerable to the governor?
Yeah, governor is the CEO of the county.
Can he sack them?
He can sack the CECs, even the county chief officers. It's a disciplinary process.
Isn't it true that they are answerable to the Public Service Board?
In terms of
Could you please just answer the
disciplinary
question,
action,
who employs them
the Public Service Board.
and who disciplines them
The Public Service Board.
and who retires them?
The Public Service Board.
So what are you trying to say then?
We will keep updating you that story as it develops. Now, Kenya's Education Cabinet Secretary has today opened a major education conference at University of Embu, bringing together policymakers, researchers, and academics to chart the next phase of reform. The meeting comes at a time the ministry is implementing far-reaching changes in the sector, including competency-based education and new funding model for university. Susan Nganga has more.
Kenya's Education Cabinet Secretary has today opened a key education forum at the University of Embu, one that is shaping the future of learning in the country. The 6th Education Evidence for Action Conference, held alongside the first ever Deans of Education Forum, brought together leaders, researchers, and educators to discuss how to improve teacher training and update the school curriculum. With the theme, Reimagining Education in Kenya, the event comes as the government is working on major changes to the education system based on recommendation from a recent report. The CS Julius Ogamba said the ministry is now using research to make decisions, such as placing junior schools in primary schools, updating the competency-based curriculum, and helping students move smoothly into senior school.
In basic education, for example, we've already rolled out key recommendations such as domiciling junior school in primary schools, rationalizing the learning areas under the competency-based education, and setting the stage for transition to pathways in senior school.
He also shared that 11 new education bills are already ready to support these reforms.
There are, for instance, 11 bills to effect changes to the legal framework that are pending approval by the cabinet before we submit it to Parliament. I can see you are shaking your head in agreement, because you know that is where the issue that you raised about professionalizing teacher education is going to be dealt with in these 11 bills that deal with the whole sector in our education, so that we can have reforms that are aligned.
On funding, CS Ogamba says the new student-centered funding model is already helping students pay for higher education based on their needs.
Because as we speak, the fees payable by students per semester now ranges between 5,814 shillings and 75,000, depending on the student's level of need and the cost of the program.
So far, over 9.4 billion shillings has been given to more than 309,000 students through HELB.
Through the student-centered funding model, the government is providing loans to students in both public and private universities. As of last week, the Higher Education Loans Board had disbursed 9.46 billion in funding to 309,178 university and TVET students.
He ended by encouraging researchers to keep coming up with real solutions to help improve education and officially open the conference. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Embu.
In another story, the construction of the ultra-modern Uhuru Market in Narok Town has reached 67.5% completion. Built under the Economic Stimulus Program at a cost of 358 million Kenya shillings, the market is expected to be completed by next year and will host over 800 traders, many of whom currently operate in open-air spaces. Let's get more from our reporter.
A parliamentary committee on housing chaired by Emurua Dikirempi Johana Ngeno inspected the ultra-modern Uhuru Market site in Narok Town and expressed confidence in meeting the set deadlines. The market is seen as a game changer for Narok residents, with 7 other markets across the county under construction at a combined cost of 1.3 billion Kenyan shillings.
This building was started around some months ago, and they are actually ahead of the program. I mean, ahead of time, as agreed, ahead of schedule, and we are very happy. And we have also inspected, and we've seen they are doing a very marvelous job, and we have assured them that there will be no shortage of funds. We will ensure that we avail the funds to complete this particular project. This is a market, a very huge market, costing around over 300 million. And it is going to host over 1,500 vendors or traders. And of course, the people who will be buying things here will rise up to around 4,000, 3,000, because those ones who will be coming for products and other facilities here will be many. So we are happy with the progress.
The Ntulele market has already been completed, while others are underway in Ololunga, Suswa, and many regions across the country. Officials say the project has created jobs for youth and women, boosting livelihoods and reducing crime.
We are here today with the parliamentary committee on housing, led by Honorable Ole Kisiara. And we have visited a number of the ESP markets, starting from Suswa all the way to Ndulele. And here we are now in the modern market. And we want to thank the national government through His Excellency William Ruto, His Excellency Governor Ndutu. They have really done a lot of good work to bring development to the people of Narok. And we want to appreciate the leadership of this county. Asanteni sana.
Narok CEC for Housing and Urban Development Johnson Olesipitiak emphasized the county's commitment to creating employment through infrastructure development, with hundreds of young people working at the sites. Molin Rono for GBS News.
Now, the MasterCard Foundation has launched a program aimed at transforming agriculture into a major source of employment for young people in Western and Nyanza region. Through the initiative dubbed Resilience Agriculture That Works for the Youth, over 100,000 youth from 9 counties are said to be trained and supported to venture into agribusiness. The program is being implemented in partnership with Practical Action, a non-governmental organization. Here are the details.
During the launching of the MasterCard Foundation program in Siaya County, Philip Kubende, a senior program officer with Practical Action, said agriculture offers a viable alternative to formal employment for thousands of young people who graduate or drop out of school each year. He noted that the initiative focuses on 4 value chains, while linking young farmers to market actors.
The project targets 100,000 youths for a period of 5 years, and essentially is to create dignified and fulfilling employment for our young people. And this is in relation to, like, from the census of 2019, there was like about 800,000 youths graduate or come out of college or schools drop out. they drop out of school and they lack employment. And the government is employing a third of the percentage. That's very little. So we are looking for alternative sources of employment, and we've looked at it, and agriculture provides the best alternative source of employment for our young people.
Siaya Practical Action Program Officer Melvin Otieno revealed that 12,000 young men and women have already benefited from training in agribusiness development and financial literacy, earning extra income as a result. Director of Victoria Eco Farm Limited, Nicholas Omondi, who has been training youths in the region, said the project is expected to create a ripple effect by boosting local economies and integrating more farmers into the value chain. The farm also buys produce from participants and employees, some as aggregators. Beneficiaries, including Benta Akoth and Malik Owade, lauded the initiative, saying it has opened up opportunities and improved their livelihoods.
My name is Benta Akoth Akech, a beneficiary of RAY, that is Resilient Agriculture that Works for Young People. I come from Game Sub-County. I'm a gender champion, and I also participate actively in matters agribusiness. Personally, I'm in poultry value chain. RAY has been one of the programs that has really benefited me as an individual, and also the mentees that are under me. For instance, I've undergone a lot of capacity building. One, I've been capacity built on financial literacy. Two, I've also undergone some BDS training and capacity building. Thirdly, I've also been able to be linked up with market actors who have come on board to purchase my products. So as a beneficiary in this project, I really recommend it that more youths, more young people can come on board, can join us so that we grow as a team.
The program underscores agriculture's potential as a source of dignified employment and economic growth, offering hope to thousands of Kenyan youths seeking sustainable livelihoods. Molin Ronu for GBS News.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21155. We'll be right back.
Confidence and body image. Confidence and body image is what we'll be talking about today. So I've always been told I'm too short to model. Does height really matter, or is confidence enough?
No, height. In the world we are in today, height does not matter.
It doesn't.
When it comes to modeling. Actually, leave alone height, even body size doesn't matter.
Even body size?
Yes. Modeling is it's an open space to express yourself. You know, modeling is visual representation of a brand of who you are. So it's about you showing up and showing your authentic self. Just that. In the industry, I have experienced, met very short people, men and ladies, and they do amazing. They're really good. It's all about, I think, believing in yourself, that confidence, you know, and knowing you can do it and you need to do it.
Walk an imaginary runway across the room, but do it like you're wearing 10-inch heels and atuna heel. So yeah, pretend do it like you're wearing a 10-inch heel. Haibo. Tuende kazi. Haya, makofi kwake.
A student can transition from other curriculums, such as the Kenyan CBC curriculum, the Pearson EdExcel curriculum, and the IB curriculum, to the Cambridge curriculum.
Today, it's that day that I would like us just to have that conversation on monthly matters.
Let's talk of Mama Fua, who like akifanya shughuli zake hapa kule has more or less that amount.
Yeah, so on that part, I would say this. When you are doing your savings, you can have, we normally talk about having 3 buckets. So we will just talk about income, budgeting, saving, and investment. Those are the 4 areas we will look at.
Happens to those like me who are planning to retire early?
We are basically looking at our incomes. We also talk about savings and investment. So those are the 3. I will not add the 4th one, which we all shy of talking about. So I would say it's not how much I am earning, but it is how much I set aside. So
everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back and thank you for keeping it locked here at GBS News at 9. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has officially been endorsed by Uganda's ruling National Resistance Movement as its presidential candidate for the 2026 elections, setting the stage for his 7th term bid. The endorsement was announced during the party's National Delegates Conference in Kampala, where Museveni outlined an ambitious economic vision and defended his long-standing leadership. While the move solidifies his grip on power, it also intensifies political tension as opposition figures, including Bobi Wine, question the country's democratic trajectory ahead of the polls. Uganda's political stage is once again on President Yoweri Museveni, who has secured ruling party's endorsement to run for a 7th term in 2026. The announcement came during the National Resistance Movement Delegates Conference in Kampala, where Museveni accepted the nomination unopposed, reaffirming his long-standing grip on power.
General retired Yoweri Kaguta Museveni as the NRM presidential flag bearer for 2026 general election.
This latest endorsement follows years of constitutional changes that removed term and age limit, allowing Museveni to extend his presidency beyond 4 decades. At the conference, he laid out an ambitious economic vision, while opposition voices led by Bobi Wine warned of shrinking democratic space and rising political tension.
When we came in, we knew exactly what to do. And that's why the economy of Uganda has recovered.
As the country heads towards the 2026 elections, the stage is set for a familiar contest with new stakes. The Electoral Commission now faces pressure to deliver a credible process, while critics question whether Uganda's institution can withstand another term under Museveni's rule. In another story, in Sudan, the humanitarian crisis is deepening. UNICEF warns that children in the besieged city of Al-Fashir are facing catastrophic conditions, with hundreds of thousands displaced and many more trapped without aid for over 16 months. Our next reporter from UNICEF shows that the toll of conflict is taking on the youngest, most vulnerable.
At least 600,000 people, half of them children, have been displaced from Al-Fashir and surrounding camps in recent months. This is according to UNICEF. Inside the city, an estimated 260,000 civilians, including 130,000 children, remain trapped in desperate condition, cut off from aid for more than 16 months. The toll on children is catastrophic. Since the siege began in April last year, over 1,100 grave violations have been verified in Al-Fashir alone. More than 1,000 children have been killed or maimed, many struck down in their homes, in camps or marketplaces. At least 23 children have been subjected to rape, gang rape, or sexual abuse. Others have been abducted, recruited, or forced into use by armed groups. UNICEF warns the real numbers are almost certainly much higher. This week brought yet another tragedy. 7 children reportedly killed in an attack on Abu Shuk displacement camp on the outskirts of Al-Fashir. We are exhausted and tired regarding the food. We are exhausted trying to find any. Nothing is left for us to eat anymore. We are so exhausted. Life itself is so hard. Everything is so hard now. UNICEF is calling on the government of Sudan and all parties to ensure safe and sustained humanitarian access to reach children wherever they are. The agency demands an immediate humanitarian pause, unimpeded delivery of food, medicine, and clean water, the re-establishment of UN operations in the hardest hit areas, and the protection of civilians, especially children, in line with international humanitarian law. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Sudan.
Indeed, a heartbreaking story there from Sudan. Now, a major infrastructure project linking Egypt, Libya and Chad via the 1,720-kilometer Trans-African Highway has officially entered the implementation phase. According to recent report published by the Italian newspaper Nigrizia, the project, described as a strategic route, aims to boost trade and strengthen economic and social ties among the three North African nations. The highway will provide a direct land connection between the Red Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, facilitating movement of goods, services across the region.
The Egyptian construction of a giant Arab contractors signed an agreement with the Libyan Reconstruction and Development Fund to develop part of the road. The Egyptian Ministry of Transport confirmed in February that construction had already commenced on the Egyptian section of the route, which extends from East Owinat to the Al Kufra border crossing in Libya.
It's our dream to work on strategic corridors like this strategic corridor. This will be a game changer. It will not be a land corridor, it will be a corridor for development. It will be for interconnectivity, for internet, for fiber optics, for land routes to move livestock from Chad easily to Egypt, or to have all exports from Chad to our port on the Red Sea. One of the main impediments for promoting trade and investment is the lack of transportation.
The Libyan portion of the highway will span 390 kilometers, while Egyptian contribution will amount to 400 kilometers. Once completed, the project will significantly shorten the time and the cost of transporting goods between the eastern and the western region of Africa.
This road complements Arab-African trade connectivity through land and railroads. Libya is working to connect Sirte city to Chad and Niger by train. These projects could curb illegal migration through bringing European investments in these connectivity networks. Egypt, as a partner with its experience, will bring many job opportunities.
Regional analysts describe the initiative as one of the most ambitious transitional infrastructure projects currently underway in the North Africa, with the potential to reshape trade routes and open up new economic opportunities.
The economic prospects of this project are numerous: to enrich regional economic cooperation, to boost cooperation with African countries. It will develop logistical services, enhance wider trade flow between these countries, exchange of services, transfer of technology between Egypt and these countries will be facilitated. The road will also help in capacity building and ease movement of labor between these countries.
Davis Karani for GBS News, Nairobi.
After that story from our very own Davis Karani, we'll be taking a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We will be right back.
Hello, kids. Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 and 25 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap years. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long, but time still flies when you are having fun.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to GBS News at 9. Now, Rwanda has launched a campaign to curb air pollutants from vehicle emissions, which authorities says are fueling asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer. In a statement on Thursday, the Rwandan Environment Management Authority said that as part of the campaign, vehicle emission testing will be conducted at regular vehicle inspection centers alongside mechanical checks. The campaign will help the country reflect on the health hazard of vehicle emission, as cleaner car means healthier lives rather. REMA Director General Juliet Kabera said, according to REMA, fine particulate matter, also known as PM2.5, from vehicles can cause both short-term and long-term effects on human health.
We test for specific gases or for specific pollutants like carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide. So the way this goes, our machines are able to have appointments that people have booked out at Irembo site, and then we're able to check if the car is a diesel or it's a gasoline. And we test to see if the car is going to have the level of the carbon monoxide we're looking for, or if it's going to be lower.
This is not a campaign for the sake of it all. It's a campaign to improve the environment, because environment is where we live. If you're living in an environment that is not clean, it is going to reflect in your health, even other organisms, but we are mainly concerned about human health. But we know that we still need petroleum or diesel-powered vehicles. They're still very much on the market. We are not yet there. Yes, there is progress. Government has put in place incentives to allow people who are importing EVs, but we also know that we still have the fossil fuel powered vehicles with us for some time.
Made different efforts to ensure we protect the environment from the banning of plastic, and Rwanda was among the first countries in the world to do that. And so when I see the testing of emission and being done in a modern way, because even in the previous years, they would check the emission. I remember one time I came here with a diesel car and they told me, go repair this.
Away from that, at today's United Nations Media Stakeout, Guyana and Slovenia, speaking at core focal points on conflict and hunger, issued a joint call for immediate diplomacy to address escalating tension in the Middle East, urging all parties to respect international humanitarian law and protect vulnerable civilians. Here are the details.
So I would advise you to move towards your right.
Guyana's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Caroline Rodriguez Piquet, highlighted the dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza, warning that famine is no longer a looming threat, but a grim reality for thousands of civilians trapped by the conflict. She urged the Security Council to act decisively, stressing that food insecurity and starvation are being used as weapons of war. Slovenia echoed this urgency, calling for unhindered humanitarian access and pushing for a ceasefire resolution, that was ultimately blocked by a Security Council veto.
I deliver this statement on behalf of Guyana and Slovenia in our capacity as informal co-focal points on conflict and hunger in the Security Council, as well as Algeria, China, Denmark, France, Greece, Pakistan, Panama, the Republic of Korea, the Russian Federation, Sierra Leone, Somalia, and the United Kingdom. We express our profound alarm and distress at the IPC data on Gaza published last Friday. It clearly and unequivocally confirms famine in the Gaza governorate. We trust the IPC's work and methodology. This is the first time famine has been officially confirmed in the Middle East region. Every day, more persons are dying as a result of malnutrition, many of them children. We are alarmed by the report that famine is projected to expand to the Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis by the end of September.
Meanwhile, Slovenia's representative presented a draft UN resolution urging an immediate ceasefire, unconditional hostages release, and unhindered humanitarian access, though it was blocked by veto from a permanent member. Slovenia condemned the veto and reiterated that protecting civilians must take precedence.
Today, we collectively make three clear and urgent calls to action. 1, we call for an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire. We call for the immediate, dignified, and unconditional release of all hostages held by Hamas and other groups. We call for a substantive surge of humanitarian assistance throughout Gaza. 2, Israel must immediately and unconditionally lift all restrictions on aid delivery. This includes opening all land routes and allowing the UN and humanitarian partners to operate safely and at scale. Humanitarian principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence must be central to humanitarian action. We call on Israel to immediately reverse its decision to further expand its military operation in Gaza with the aim of taking over Gaza City. This decision, which we reject, will inevitably worsen the already horrific humanitarian situation and endanger the lives of all civilians, including the hostages. Time is of the essence.
Both countries have called for strengthened UN mediation, renewed humanitarian aid corridors, and collective diplomatic resolve to de-escalate the conflict. They stated that sustained pressure and unity among elected Security Council members is essential to press for lasting peace in the region. Moilin Rono for GBS News.
And Israel must reverse.
Diplomatic pressure is intensifying on Israel as humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsens. At the United Nations Security Council, the United States remain isolated as the only member opposing call for increased aid to Palestinians affected by conflict. Other council members have called on Israel to relax restrictions on humanitarian convoys, warning that without quick action, the region could face an even greater catastrophe. Washington's Seoul's position has faced strong criticism from global leaders, who says the rising civilian toll calls for urgent international intervention. Let's have a look.
In Gaza, the effects of famine on children were front and center during a meeting on the UN Security Council.
Children are being killed in Gaza by bombs, bullets, and now starvation. An entire generation at risk of being wiped out. Every decision maker in every capital in the world, everyone in this room, has a legal and moral responsibility to act to stop these atrocities.
Algeria's ambassador held a photo of murdered journalist Miriam Abu Dhaka, killed by Israel at Nasser hospital attack this week. And he read part of the letter she wrote for her young son before her death.
And when you grow, when you marry, and when you have a daughter, name her Miriam after me.
Sierra Leone's ambassador appears emotional when talking about the warning signs of the genocide in Gaza.
Inaction or paralysis in the face of clear warning signs is not neutrality. It is complicity.
After the meeting concluded, all council members, except the United States, issued a joint statement demanding Israel lift all restrictions to aid delivery and reverse a decision to expand military operations into Gaza City.
This is a man-made crisis. The use of starvation as a weapon of war is clearly prohibited under international humanitarian law. Famine in Gaza must be stopped immediately.
Qui a été pénible pour nous tous.
This meeting has been painful for us all because we all felt, beyond our country's positions, we all felt a deep feeling of helplessness, unable to fulfill our mandate. And that is a matter of disgust to all of us, and it saddens us all.
In a Security Council that has been deemed ineffective, left to vent frustrations in the absence of substantive action like ceasefire resolution, which the United States has vetoed 6 times. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Mine.
It's time for your most favorite segment of the show, the sport news. Let's get sporty. President William Ruto has hosted the Harambee Stars team for the first time for a lunch as he makes more promises to build and improve the country's sporting infrastructure. The president, who expressed his happiness and joy, lauded Harambee Stars for the good effort they put in place during their matches, despite them being grouped in what the president called a group of giants and death. Through their effort, Ruto has urged the Federation of Kenya Football to kickstart the raising of the 2027 African Cup of Nations team, as Davis Karani reports. Now we'll bring you that story, and now on to the next story is that Manchester United crashed out of the Carabao Cup in dramatic fashion last night, falling to a league of 2 minor Grimsby Town, a 4th-tier side, in one of the competition's biggest shock, as the Red Devils look out of their ideas while the underdog sees their moment of glory. And this was a disgrace to United family and fans worldwide. Let's get more from our very own reporter, Omala Bryan.
Well, they certainly have caught the big fish here in Grimsby. Manchester United.
Stand and send parking. Manchester United have been eliminated from the Carabao
Green
Cup.
has done well. Gardner. Burns is ready to seek advantage from the situation.
By 4th-tier Grimsby Town, in a night of drama, the underdogs define the odds.
A glorious moment for Grimsby Town!
Outplaying the Red Devils and sealing historic win that leaves the United campaign in tatters.
In big trouble, and it's going to be forced in. Warren, the former Manchester United trainee.
Brian Omala, reporting for GBS TV, Nairobi.
That is from Manchester United. Now we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time. My name is Said Ibrahim, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Alan Kiama. But we leave with an African proverb saying, brave concept is do or die. Practical concept is do before you die. And winner's concept is don't die until you do it. That is from the Manchester fan. Have a good night.
Everywhere, GBS.